Where do I even begin with this subject? It has so many layers to it, I honestly think this can't be contained in one video. Currently, the definition of manhood has lost its original meaning, with there being currently 5 generations that are adults to slightly change their own worldview. Silent, baby boomers, X, millennials, and Z, with steadily declining two-parent households raising boys to men. With Generation Z's population of men with an approximation raised by single mothers of 35%. This is not a dig on the moms that took care of home, but they only could teach what they could with the tools provided. But let's get started.
Alpha male.
Of alpha and alpha male.
Alpha male.
Talking about alpha man.
The alpha male.
The alpha.
Of alpha.
Alpha male.
I think an alpha male.
I haven't had an alpha man.
Full disclosure, I didn't create the term, guys. High value man has been.
I'm a fucking high value male.
Beta.
Beta!
Because when they see somebody who's a beta,
Hey, ain't nobody trying to hear that bullshit, man.
The term alpha male first came into popular use through the work of biologist Dr. L. David Meck in the 1970s. In his studies of captive wolves, Meck observed a hierarchical structure in which the dominant male seemed to assert control over the pack, leading through aggressive displays and fights for supremacy. This behavior was interpreted as evidence of a natural alpha figure, and soon the term was applied to human social dynamics. The alpha male quickly became a cultural archetype. In self-help books, media, and everyday conversation, it was used to describe men who embodied dominance, assertiveness, and control. This was held up as an ideal form of masculinity, an unyielding leader who commands through strength and fear. However, as Dr. Meck continued his research and discovered that the behavior he observed in captive wolves was not representative of how wolves behaved in the wild.
What? Do I stutter, motherfucker?
In the wild, wolves operated in family units, no single alpha dominating through aggression. Cooperation and nurturing, not fighting, and are the natural behaviors that ensure the pack's survival. Unfortunately, by the time this correction came to light, the alpha male myth had already taken its root in society. The misapplication of the alpha male concept to human behavior has had lasting effects. In reality, humans do not operate in strict hierarchical structures driven by dominance and physical power. Our success as a species has more to do with cooperation, emotional intelligence, and adaptability than sheer strength. Leadership, as it applies to human beings, is a far more complex, nuanced concept. Research shows that traits like empathy, collaboration, and the ability to inspire are far more predictive of long-term success than dominance and aggression. While some men may rise to the positions of leadership, it is not often because they are alpha in the traditional sense, but because they know how to connect with and support others. Despite this, the alpha male ideal continues to perpetuate the idea that men must assert control through physicality and dominance.
Yeah.
He's, God damn it.
You're still whining. Stop whining and just make an argument.
I'll smack your fat ass.
So you're going to attack?
You're going to attack me?
All right.
Nobody's
Do you usually attack armed men in Florida?
Why?
It promotes a rigid form of masculinity where emotional vulnerability and cooperation are seen as weaknesses.
You went out like a sucker.
Oh, so if I throw it, then you got my back?
Of course. You know that. I'm your man. You know what?
This not only limits men in expressing their full range of humanity, but also contributes to the unhealthy competition, isolation, and skewed understanding of power.
Masculinity is calm. Masculinity is ease and delight. Feminine energy is chaos. That's why when men act chaotic, it's a real turnoff to women.
Masculinity is a problem because it is a condition where you will fight back, which is the number one thing that they never wanted. Where there are masculine men, there are safer environments. What do I mean? This whole toxic masculinity farce that people try to toss out here. The term toxic masculinity came from two Caucasian men, Shepard Bliss and Robert J. Stoller. What people perceive as masculinity is putting their hands on a woman. That's masculine. No, that's not what masculinity is. Masculinity would prevent a man from putting his hands on his woman. Masculinity protects the community. Masculinity raises and respects children. Masculinity secures women. Masculinity makes it to where you're not going to step over here and not get checked if you don't operate properly. That's what masculinity is. Toxicity is the opposite of masculinity. You can't even put those together. You never hear people talk about toxic femininity because the agenda is to make the man weak, because if you have weak men, you have women who are not going to be protected, destroy them slowly but surely and make sure they don't have any men to protect them. Even though women can protect themselves, they shouldn't have to.
For African American men, the alpha male myth carries an even greater burden. From a young age, black men are often portrayed and perceived as aggressive, dominant, and physically imposing, feeding into the stereotype of the strong black man. This stereotype is a double-edged sword. It both glorifies and criminalizes, leading to society to expect black men to fulfill the role of an aggressive leader while simultaneously punishing them for it. These expectations are rooted in systematic disenfranchisement. Historically, African American males have been denied opportunities for leadership, economic mobility, and social equality. The myth of the alpha male exacerbates this by perpetuating the idea that dominance and physical power are the only routes to success, an idea that is often counterproductive in environments where cooperation and emotional intelligence are required for growth. The media has reinforced the narrative by portraying African American males through the lens of hypermasculinity. In films, music, and television, black men are frequently shown as either violent aggressors with little room for vulnerability or emotional depth.
Ricky, can you tell us what you've been doing since you've graduated?
Well, Robert, I've played 9 crooks, 4 gang leaders, 2 dope dealers. I played That was fun.
They'll never play the Rambo until they stop playing the Sambo.
This limited view of black masculinity forces men into roles that do not reflect the full range of their experiences or potential. The truth is, true leadership and strength come from the qualities that go far beyond the outdated notion of the alpha male. In today's society, successful leaders are those who know how to bring people together, foster collaboration, and inspire through empathy and emotional intelligence. Men who embrace these qualities are often the ones who build the most enduring relationships, communities, and organizations. Men who are allowed to express vulnerability and empathy can lead in ways that are far more meaningful than those who rely on dominance. By breaking free of the alpha male myth, men, especially black men, can redefine leadership on their own terms, fostering environments where cooperation, care, and resilience are valued over competition and control. And this brings us to the crabs in the barrel metaphor, which offers a powerful illustration of how an alpha male myth harms men, particularly black men, by trapping them in a cycle of competition and constraint.
I think I might catch me a few more today. Fascinating creature, the crab. Got that hard exterior, but he ain't really dangerous, except to another crab. Dumb as all hell. Can't even walk straight. Matter of fact, the only thing a crab is good for is holding back other crabs.
Crabs, when placed in the barrel, will pull each other down as they try to climb to freedom, a behavior they don't exhibit in the wild. The misinterpreted metaphor reveals how an unnatural environment forces destructive behaviors, as society's imposition of the alpha male myth forces men into unnatural roles of competition and aggression. African American men confined by systemic racism, economic barriers, and harmful social narratives are often placed in the barrel, a system that limits their potential and fosters unhealthy competition. The alpha male myth tells them that the only way out is through dominance, but this is an illusion. Much like the crabs who escape by working together, men would thrive more by lifting each other up rather than pulling each other down. The truth is, we're not naturally designed for this kind of competition. Humans, like crabs in their natural habitat, function best when they cooperate, support one another, and work towards a collective success. So in my next video, I think I'll be diving into a tribal culture that actually encourages this kind of thinking and do an analysis on the content creators that push this rhetoric. I'm going to wrap it up here, but in the meantime, check out my other videos if you're interested in other hidden and obscure facts.